Yo, what's up guys? This video will contain massive spoilers for Spider-Man Brand New Day, so make sure to check out the movie before watching this. We'll break it up into sections. Most of it will be spoiler free, but there will be a spoiler section. But with all that being said, let's get into it.
The one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider.
But I'll tell you one thing you may not have thought of. You know one of the greatest things about Spider-Man's outfit, his costume?
What?
He is completely covered. Any kid could imagine he's Spider-Man. He could be black under that. He could be red. He could be yellow. He could belong to any race.
He always said it could have been anyone behind the mask. He was just the kid who happened to get bit.
I'm going to miss him.
Yeah.
We were friends, you know.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
My favorite thing about Peter is that he made us each feel powerful. We all have powers of one kind or another. But in our own way, we are all Spider-Man. And we're all counting on you.
Okay, so a new Spider-Man movie came out this week, and of course that means we're going to talk about it. We're not only going to talk about this one, we're going to talk about the character as a whole and just everything about him. So for starters, if you guys know anything about me, Spider-Man is why I do any of this. All I wanted coming into this movie was a definitive Spider-Man movie that captures my extreme love and passion for the character. Tom's always been my favorite Spider-Man, dating all the way back to Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. Then in 2018 and 2019's Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home, it solidified it for me. But for a lot of people, they still had their clear glaring issues with this iteration of the character. And all those criticisms were extremely valid. Well, at least most of them. In 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home is where I think it all changes though. In this movie, Peter makes the ultimate mistake, and it ends with him finally fixing it by sacrificing everything. We end things off with the comic book accurate Spider-Man we all know and love. Now in Brand New Day, we deal with the repercussions and consequences of the results of Peter's heartbreaking, gut-wrenching decision. We're going to come back to this towards the end of the video. Like I said, this is a video about Spider-Man as a whole, as a character, and that comes first. And while I do think Tom's version is the best live-action Peter Parker we've ever seen, we do have to pay our respect and look back at the entire history to understand what paved the road and how we got here. We're going to talk about a few different Spider-Man and even a couple different Spider-People. We're going to talk about each of their defining moments, quotes, wins, losses, and everything in between. So we'll start with Peter and the comics. Since the phrase comic book accurate will likely pop up multiple times in this video, we have to determine what exactly a comic book accurate Spider-Man looks like. From there, we'll talk about Tobey Maguire's friendly neighborhood Spidey, then Andrew Garfield's amazing Spidey, Josh Keaton's spectacular Spidey, Miles and Gwen's versions of their Spideys from the animated movies, and Yuri Lowenthal's ultimate Spidey from the games. We'll then end things off with what I think is the definitive version of the character, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So let's start with the comics, specifically the origin we all know and love. Peter was bitten by a radioactive spider, then Uncle Ben was killed, and this ultimately causes Peter to become Spider-Man in the first place. Spider-Man is a character who's very dynamic. We can see in multiple Spider-Man stories that his age and circumstances of his life can vary. In some stories, he's in high school, in some stories, he's in college, and in some stories, he's even an adult. That can expand to be tons of different age ranges too. He's been a dad multiple times, he's had multiple love interests, and overall, there's just a lot to do with the character given his long history in the comics. This is very different from Batman or Superman. They typically stay the same age range throughout most media. Sometimes they'll be older, and sometimes they'll be younger, but it's still a lot less diverse than Spider-Man. This is just one of the many reasons why Spider-Man is my personal favorite character in all of fiction. But since we're talking about how dynamic Peter is, let's talk about the things that always stay the same, no matter what the writers are doing and no matter what the story they're telling. This is arguably the most important part of Spider-Man, and it's the fact that him living two different lives comes with an extreme cost. Whenever Peter Parker wins, Spider-Man seems to lose. And whenever Spider-Man seems to win, Peter seems to lose. It's incredibly rare that one comes without the other. Sometimes writers even have both of them lose and neither of them win. And this is incredibly sad and stressful for Peter, but it raises the stakes for his story so much. Being Spider-Man is such a struggle for him, but he knows he has to be Spider-Man, and he knows that's what the city he loves needs. In my opinion, the best Spider-Man stories seem to nail this to a T. This is actually so known that when most fans see Spider-Man happy in any form of media, they know it's only temporary and a big loss is just moments away. In the comics, Peter lost his entire marriage with MJ, he's been buried alive, he's even had his entire body taken over, and these are all on top of the major character deaths like Uncle Ben, Aunt May, Gwen Stacy, and both his parents.
Anyone can wear the mask.
Let's talk about the phrase, anyone can wear the mask. This is one of my favorite quotes ever, and I find it to be so true. It's exactly how Sam Lee and Steve Ditko wanted Spidey to be viewed in the public eye. Spider-Man wears a mask, and therefore anybody can throw it on and feel like him. The public doesn't really know what he looks like or anything about him. And he's only one of few heroes that keeps a secret identity, and I love that about him. Spider-Man has to lie to the people he loves in order to protect them. And Peter struggles with the same problems that any of us do. Money, school, friends, relationships, and even scheduling time for the things that matter most to us. A lot of us say we would love to be Spider-Man, and I mean, at first glance, who wouldn't want to be able to swing around the city and have these amazing gifts? But we don't realize how much of a sacrifice that would truly be. And Spider-Man is a hero who does all this stuff, and he asks for nothing in return.
I am sorry for your pain.
Don't worry about my pain. Worry about yours. It's always the same. I can save the world 10 times over, but when I need help, I'm on my own. Thanks for nothing.
In my opinion, Spider-Man pulls from the best aspect of every hero that we all love. He almost always refuses to kill, like Batman, but he's still willing to if there's no other way. He's an extremely hopeful inspiration like Superman. He's kind, caring, and compassionate like Wonder Woman. He's just a regular human being at the end of the day like Captain America and Iron Man. Sometimes he even thinks that he'd just be better off not being Spider-Man at all and hates what he has to do, like Hulk and Wolverine. While other times he feels obligated to do certain things since he has these gifts and it's his responsibility to use them for good. Just like Aquaman and Green Lantern, who have to do the same, whether it's because they're an heir to a throne or because they took an oath. Spidey consistently holds back like a lot of our favorite heroes. He's an underdog a lot of the times, and he scales to so many different levels. In my opinion, he can be street level all the way up to country level or continent level. One thing's for sure, and it's that Peter's street level by choice a lot of the time. But being Spider-Man isn't a complete burden on Peter. He does love it at the end of the day. But we also have to remember he's still a human, and a lot of the times he's still young. Sometimes he needs a break, just like all of us do. We don't love Spider-Man because he never falls or fails. We love him because no matter what, he keeps on pushing through, and he keeps getting back up. And I think the best Spider-Man show this in the best ways. Okay, so Tobey Maguire. Something so important with Spider-Man is his rogues gallery, and I'd argue it's top 2 in all the comics, second maybe only to Batman. But that's a debate for another time. I think Tobey Maguire's version of the character captures the villain so well, specifically with Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and in my opinion, even Sandman. Look at all these scenes.
I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero. And they found you amusing for a while, the people of this city. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
Because it's right.
I won't.
You once spoke to me about intelligence. That it was a gift to be used for the good of mankind.
Privilege.
These things have turned you into something you're not. Sometimes, to do what's right, we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most.
But I had no choice.
We always have a choice. You had a choice when you killed my uncle.
My daughter was dying. I needed money. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want you to understand.
I forgive you.
I think Tobey's a really good Peter Parker. I don't really love his Spider-Man as much as most, but I can still see a lot of positives within it. Tobey's Peter focuses a lot on MJ and the consequences of him being Spider-Man, the toll it has on his relationships, and how he's constantly being tested and put through the ringer because of it. The first origin movie ends with Peter turning away from MJ in order to protect her, and the second movie she gets married to another guy. This, along with Peter losing jobs, struggling with money, failing classes, and always being late to things, eventually caused him to just quit being Spider-Man altogether. But of course, Peter does what he usually does, and he perseveres forward. He returns and saves the city, and in the third movie, Peter's life is finally going great until he comes in contact with the symbiote. This is a great plot device / story mover, or even just a stake raiser. It again costs him his relationship, introduces a new villain, and ultimately kills his best friend. Andrew's Spider-Man deals with a lot of the same things as Tobey's. The major differences, I would say, are just his love interest, Gwen Stacy, the lack of a best friend at first at least. And I also think Andrew's a lot different in the sense that I really like his Spider-Man and think that he's really cool, but I'm also not too fan of his Peter Parker. I think he's a little bit too cool for me too. In the fight against the Lizard, Captain Stacy, Gwen's father, is killed, and his dying wish is for Peter to stay away from Gwen as he knows that Pete's only putting her in danger. Come the second movie, Harry comes back home sick like his father was prior. Peter is put in a difficult situation when Harry asks for Spider-Man's DNA as he thinks it could save him. He and Gwen are also on and off since Peter knows he's putting her in danger, and they ultimately decide to just break up for good.
You're Spider-Man. And I love that. But I love Peter Parker more. That's worth it to me.
I can't lose you too.
Peter, I can't live like this. I break up with you. I break up with you.
This leaves Peter to just focus on being Spider-Man, but Peter ultimately can't stay away from her, with his feelings being so strong. He decides to go try getting her back and making it work. And he does so. He also wins. But in typical Spider-Man fashion, things take a turn, and ultimately all the villains attack. Though Electro and Green Goblin are both eventually stopped, it's not before Gwen Stacy is killed. This obviously causes Peter to feel an immense amount of guilt and pain, and he just quits being Spider-Man. For 5 months, actually. We get a beautiful scene where he listens to Gwen's graduation speech. And with the city in chaos, since no one's there to protect them, Peter makes the right choice at the end of the day. He does what he knows is right and what he knows Gwen would want him to do.
I knew you'd come back.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up for me. You're the bravest kid I've ever seen. I'm gonna take care of this chick. You go take care of your mom, okay? All right, get out of here. Go. Go.
This show is probably one of my favorite pieces of Spider-Man media. He's not necessarily my favorite Spider-Man, but I think this show probably understands him the best that we've ever seen. Obviously, we can't talk about the whole show here, but we're going to talk about 3 of my favorite scenes. In episode 3, Peter faces off against the Lizard. He finds a cure for him and uses it. It works, and it returns Dr. Connors back to his normal form. This saves their entire family, which is obviously something Peter doesn't really have, besides May. But, again, it comes at a cost. When the Lizard attacked, Peter had to leave his friends and go be Spider-Man to save the day. This lowers his friends' opinions of him, and it gets worse when they see that he only left to take pictures and make money. They're mad, and rightfully so. Of course, he could just tell them the truth, but he's obviously clearly afraid. He loses his job and his friends. but at least he saved the day, right? Wrong. Peter doesn't feel that way at all, at least not at first. He has some of the cure left over, and for a good bit he thinks about drinking it and giving up his powers. That way he wouldn't have to balance the two lives anymore.
I never asked to be Spider-Man. I never asked for these powers. I never knew it would mean a bashed up hand, a hard 9 p.m. curfew, no job, and friends who all think I'm scum. It was all just a twist of fate. Bad luck, a random bug bite. Easiest decision I ever made. Spider-Man's no magic wand, but thanks to the webhead, Kurt's cured, and Billy gets his father back. So what if nobody threw a parade?
The second scene is in episode 12, the penultimate episode. And for background information, this show decides to skip out on the origin, very similarly to what the MCU decided to do. But this section of the season deals with the symbiote arc, and it takes us back to Spider-Man's origin. It does a really good job showing the pros and cons of the suit. It shows us important stuff that happened to Peter before becoming Spider-Man in Peter's life that led him up to this point. He thinks of all his friends and loved ones, and he realizes even though his job's harder without the suit,
That's what you're in for, roomie.
With great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Pretty words. But what good do they do? We still went to the venue. We still let the cat burglar go. He came down to take this car and took Ben away from us.
From him, not you. That's not the point, and I'll prove it.
I should drop you. Take what you took from Ben Parker. But he wouldn't approve. No one's denying the great work we've done, but how are we repaid? We have no money, no girl, no real friends. None, that is, save us.
I beg to differ.
I love for the MCU Spider-Man to have a similar scene whenever he dons the classic symbiote suit in the near future. This show does a fantastic job showing the split in Peter's and Spider-Man's lives. I'd honestly argue this show handles the dual lifestyle the best. Peter being split between choosing himself and choosing Spider-Man, while the series ultimately builds up to Eddie hating both Peter and Spider-Man for different reasons and ultimately becoming Venom. Peter, of course, stops him and returns home, where he thinks of the entire journey throughout the season. He grabs the vial from episode 3 with the cure in it. We learn that he kept it under his bed since he thought he might go reuse it at a certain point when things get tough. But then he grabs it and goes to the sink.
I feel so guilty leaving poor Peter to clean up.
Stop it. My mess, okay? Speaking of messes, maybe I do let people down. A lot. But hey, I'm always there to save them, too. Spidey's not a disease that needs a cure, and he's more than just a random bug bite, too. Spider-Man is who I am. My destiny.
And to me, that is exactly what Spider-Man represents. Sacrifice, loss, endurance, rebirth, and perseverance. Okay, since we're on the topic of animation, let's keep it up with Miles and Gwen. In my opinion, the Spider-Verse movies are the best Spider-Man movies in general, flat out. And I'd argue that that's not even an opinion, it's almost a fact. I'd also argue they deserve to be in conversations that scale much higher outside of just the Spider-Man movie conversation, or even just the comic book movie conversation. I think, for me personally, they're up there with just the flat-out greatest movies of all time. That could be a hot take, but you guys can let me know in the comments. These movies show the extreme diversity of the different Spider people within the multiverse. Miles is an African-American, Puerto Rican, young, energetic Spider-Man. He has different powers than our classic, normal Peter Parker. The powers really fit Miles and who he is really well. While Gwen is a female, youthful, punk rock Spider-Woman, oddly enough, I think these two beautifully animated movies show off Spider-Man's origin the best of any of these. Miles has to go on a beautiful arc throughout the first one of learning what it is to be Spider-Man.
I see this spark in you. It's amazing. Whatever you choose to do with it, you'll be great.
Our family doesn't run from things.
You're the best of all of us, Miles. You're on your way. Keep going.
When do I know I'm Spider-Man?
You won't. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger?
And what he can and can't do with Spider-Man. At the end of the day, like we said, he's a human. He can't do anything and save everyone.
You have a choice between saving one person and saving an entire world, every world.
I can do both! Spider-Man always...
Not always.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Goodbye, Gwen.
Gwen goes on a beautiful journey with him, and to me, it plays a beautiful parallel to her past and her losing her best friend, Peter Parker, in her universe. And at the end of Across the Spider-Verse, though we don't know how the story will ultimately end and conclude, it looks like Miles is going to have to learn the same lesson Peter has to multiple times. His uncle's already died, and by the looks of it, it seems his mother, father, or at least some close loved one will be next. These movies also depict what I think is the best examples of how hard it is for these young teens to tell their families and loved ones their truth about them and their secret identities.
I mean, would they get it if I told them?
We love you and accept you even though you have been lying to us for a year.
So, you and your dad, you still haven't talked?
What exactly would we talk about? Hey, Dad, how've the last few months been? You still think I murdered my best friend?
Oh, I mean, my parents. I mean, maybe if I told them.
Don't. Trust me on that.
Well,
we covered the movies, then the shows. So now let's look at the games. The PlayStation Spider-Man games are a blast. All three of them. I think the first one remains the best, but Miles Morales' game and the sequel both bring a lot of fun stuff to offer. For the sake of the video, we're going to mainly get in depth about the first game and only talk about the other ones a little bit, but let's start. So in the Insomniac Spider-Man universe, Peter's a vet. He's been doing this for 10 years by the end of the second game, so it's safe to say he's faced nearly his entire rogues gallery with the exception of Green Goblin and Carnage. Maybe a couple more, but those are the first ones that come to mind. The very first scene in the very first game goes to show this. In Peter's apartment, we see tons of Easter eggs and newspaper clippings of various battles with various villains. Even though Spider-Man's older, that doesn't mean he's figured it all out. He faces the same problems as every other Spider-Man that we talked about. He faces money problems, relationship problems, problems balancing his life, all of it. We see villains like Kingpin. Throughout the game, we see villains like Kingpin, Shocker, Tombstone, the Sinister Six, including Scorpion, Rhino, Vulture, Electro. And then the main villains in the game are Mr. Negative and Dr. Octopus. Spider-Man gets stuck in the middle ground against the Sinister Six and Norman Osborn. After Osborn shut down Dr. Octavius' research, he wants revenge. He wants to expose him for creating something called Devil's Breath. Norman created this to save his wife and son, Harry. And of course, with Peter in the middle ground, he has to try getting his mentor, Dr. Octavius, not to be consumed by revenge. And this is incredibly hard for Peter, as he looks up to Octavius and almost sees him as a father figure. In the third act of this game, Devil's Breath is exposed to the entire city, and they're all at risk of falling ill to it. They develop a cure, but by the time they do, it's too late. They only have a sample, and Peter's ultimately left with an impossible decision. He can choose to give the sample to Aunt May and let all the others in the city die, or let them further develop it and later on give it to the rest of the city and save everyone but let Aunt May die.
We did the impossible, Doc.
to destroy it. With a little creation of my own.
If you want to change the world, you have to be the kind of man who can make the hardest decisions.
I couldn't agree more!
Peter?
Even when it hurts like hell.
Peter, where are you going? Peter?
You're gonna be okay, ma'am. I've got the cure right here.
Take off your mask. I want to see my nephew.
You knew?
I've known for a while.
I never wanted you to worry.
I did. And I am so proud of you. And Ben would be too. All the people you've saved.
I don't know what to do.
Yes, you do.
After this game is Miles' game. And here, Miles has to learn how to become Spider-Man while still overcoming the loss of his dad in the previous game. And battling against his Uncle Aaron, who doesn't want him to be the new Spider-Man.
I let you down. We're family.
Family? That didn't stop you from lying to me, manipulating me, fighting me? Being family isn't enough anymore.
Doesn't have to be like this. You, me, hating each other? That's how it happened between me and your dad. I don't want to repeat that.
I don't either. But I can't be the person you want to turn me into. I can't turn my back when people need me. I have to be better than that.
Miles' old friend, Finn, is out to wreak havoc on Roxxon and in turn, the entire city for taking away her brother. And Miles is forced to either save her or save the city, kind of like Peter was in the previous game. She ultimately dies, and this leaves Miles in a hole. Yes, he saved his city and his neighborhood, and they accept him as the new Spider-Man. But all of this came at a huge cost. He lost his best friend, as many Spider-Men have before him.
I still can't get over that suit. So cool.
Gotta be me.
Yeah, you do.
Pete, does this job ever get easier?
Some of it, yeah. Some things never get easier, though.
In the sequel to the first game, we deal with Harry Osborn, who's sick. Norman gets hold of the symbiote, and he gives it to Harry as a cure. Things are good until Kraven comes to town to hunt the Spider-Man, and he's actually pretty successful in doing so. He manages to kill Peter, which then causes the symbiote to latch onto him and leave Harry to save him. But as everything does, this comes at an extreme cost. The symbiote does what it always does and starts taking Peter over and turning him dark. Miles has to fight him, overpower him, and get him to snap back to reality.
I can't let this go. I'm finally everything everyone needs me to be.
Yeah? You don't even answer my calls anymore, man. And what about MJ? You could have killed her. I know you're hurting, Pete, but you're better than this.
I know. But
Peter sees the damage it causes and wants to destroy it, but Harry knows that he needs it to keep himself alive. This causes the two of them to disagree and fight. This pushes Harry to become Venom, and in the final battle of the game, Peter, Miles, and MJ have to stop Venom from destroying the city, and Harry nearly dies. We actually don't know his fate by the end of the game. This pushes Norman Osborn to hate Spider-Man and want to kill him, the same man Spider-Man spent the entire last game trying to save. Now let's talk about my personal favorite Spider-Man, Tom Holland's, in my opinion, definitive take on the character. In my opinion, Tom's movies are very good if you can find the underlying messages. It's an entire origin trilogy. I'm not the first person to point that out. We've already discussed how Spider-Man is a character who constantly loses. That remains the same no matter what or how we look at the character. What varies is obviously the size, level, and degree of those losses. Tom's movies are coming-of-age stories. Again, it's an origin trilogy, so we grow throughout the three movies. Peter starts off Spider-Man Homecoming as a 15-year-old boy who's a sophomore in high school. Now on Rainy Day, he's a grown man in the real world with nothing and no one. In Homecoming, Peter struggles with being a hero. He's just getting started and learning the ropes. And they give us clear depictions of Spidey winning and causing Peter to lose. Here's all the many examples of this from Spider-Man Homecoming. Liz's party. Peter promises to bring his friend Spider-Man to the party, but when he spots trouble nearby, it forces him to leave early and get made fun of by his classmates. The academic decathlon Washington, D.C. trip. Peter accidentally gets Ned to sneak a bomb inside the Washington Monument. He has to abandon his team and his friends, all in order to save them. And he's successful in doing so, but it comes with multiple costs. It damages his peers' opinions of him. He winds up getting detention for it, which is a detention he's going to have to skip to save more people as Spider-Man, which then leads to more detention, losing the Stark internship / his powerful suit. And it makes May have to finally yell at him and snap. The movie goes so far to make it extremely clear how his personal Peter Parker life thrives when he stopped being Spider-Man. He gets the girl he wanted and secures the homecoming date that he spent the whole movie chasing. We see he gets good test grades, and he even starts balancing out his relationship with Ned and Aunt May. The next and final thing he loses is the dream homecoming. This is something he wanted so bad. We get one of the best MCU plot twists ever when we learn that Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, is actually Liz's dad. They know each other's secrets, and in this extremely tense car ride, he threatens Peter and tells him to stay out of his way. But we know that Peter is a true hero, and he's gonna do the right thing no matter what. Tom's Peter gets a lot of hate in the early days, most of which I never understood. The audience would love to bash him and call him things like Iron Boy Jr. or just a Tony Stark sidekick, but that's never the case. And that's never what Stan Lee intended for the character, and the MCU knew that since the beginning. Peter still goes to stop the Vulture after losing everything. No fancy suit, no backup, no training wheels. A one-on-one, life or death. Peter ends up losing. Vulture drops a building on him and he nearly dies. It crushes him. This puts Peter in a situation he's never been in before. Thinking his life is about to be over, he remembers back on everything he's been through. All the way back from Ben to the spider bite to when Tony recruited him back in Civil War, all the way up to now, when Tony took the suit back and tells Peter if he's nothing without the suit, then he doesn't deserve the suit. Peter pushes and perseveres. He lifts the entire building off of him and proves why he's Spider-Man. The suit isn't what makes him special, it's the young man inside of it. Peter ultimately stops the Vulture and then gets invited to the Avengers, another thing he wanted so badly towards the earlier points in this film. But when push comes to shove, he turns it down. He realizes his friends and loved ones need him. His neighborhood needs him. Unfortunately for Peter, when the fate of the world is at stake, he's dragged into the Avengers business, and he's okay with that. He knows if they lose this war, there won't be a neighborhood to save. But they still lose nonetheless, and Peter dies. 5 years later, he comes back, and all together, the Avengers manage to win. Of course, this win doesn't come without its losses though, and Peter loses a lot. He loses Tony, and he also misses out on 5 years of his life. And when he comes back, it's not the world that he knew. The world aged without him. In Spider-Man Far From Home, things get a lot harder for Peter. He's now in his junior year and just wants to enjoy his summer vacation. He has an entire plan mapped out to tell MJ he has a crush on her. He wants to get her a gift, and he wants to share a kiss with her at these romantic spots on their vacation. But those plans quickly go south. Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Mysterio hijack his plans and recruit him to help take down the elemental monsters. Peter once again has to put Spider-Man first and put Peter Parker last.
What do you want, you, Peter Parker, now? I know you're thinking about it.
I want to go on my trip, right? I want to go back on my trip with my friends and go to the top of the Eiffel Tower with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel and give her a kiss. Shut up, man.
You're not gonna do that, are you?
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because I have too much of a responsibility.
Peter thinks he made a friend in Quentin Beck, but he's completely wrong. He gives him the final gift Tony left for him before dying. And this allows Mysterio to fool people into believing he's a real hero, even better than he was before. Peter has to work with MJ and Ned to stop him, and luckily he does so. He stops Mysterio and still manages to get his plan to somewhat come to fruition. He tells MJ how he feels, and she feels the same. They return home after the insane trip, and they plan a date. Right when Peter thought he caught a break, it all takes a turn. Mysterio leaks Peter's identity to the whole entire world, and now everyone knows. So far, you might think these problems are relatively small, especially compared to the problems that our other Spider-Men have faced and their stories. And regarding some of these, I'd honestly agree. But here's the thing that we all missed. Remember, it's a coming-of-age trilogy. Each movie, Peter grows older, bigger, and more mature. And so do his problems. As a 15-year-old sophomore, missing out on homecoming and being bullied and called names can feel like your entire world is coming crashing down on you. And the same goes for a 16-year-old junior missing out on his summer vacation or not being able to tell their crush how they feel about them. Or even, especially, them losing someone who's been so much like a father figure to them. If this still isn't selling you, in No Way Home, our high school senior Peter Parker loses everything. And that's no exaggeration. Like I said earlier, before it just felt like the entire world was crashing onto Peter's shoulders. But now it really is about to. After his identity gets revealed, Pete goes to his fellow Avenger, Doctor Strange, and hopes that he could cast a spell to make everyone forget. Peter's identity being revealed not only ruins so many things for him, but all his friends and loved ones. It's when Strange's spell goes wrong that the multiverse breaks, and it drags in dozens of people who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man from different universes. This is extremely dangerous and has a possibility of causing an incursion. And knowing this, Strange attempts to send them home to die, but Aunt May won't allow Peter to do that. He's a hero, and killing all these people would be wrong. So he of course listens to his moral compass, but ultimately this is a mistake. The villains switch back to their evil sides, and they make Peter pay the ultimate sacrifice yet.
Struggling to have everything you want, while the world tries to make you choose. Gods don't have to choose. We take.
Aunt May dies, and Peter's completely broken. But when he's at his lowest, he has his friends come and help pick him up. MJ and Ned come, and they bring a few surprises. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's versions of the character come to help our Spider-Man. And it's when he could really use it the most.
Truth is, I accidentally brought those dangerous people here. And if those people are watching, just know that I really did try to help you. I mean, I could have killed you at any given moment, but I didn't. Because my Aunt May taught me that everyone deserves a second chance. The world, if you're watching...
Believe me, the world is watching.
Wish me luck. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man could really use some.
Together, the team cures the villains, and they help Peter not be consumed by vengeance. This solves one problem, but the incursion is still incoming. The entire universe is at risk, and the only way to save everyone inside this universe is for all of them to forget who Peter Parker is. He remembers Aunt May and Uncle Ben's message about responsibility. He tells Doctor Strange to wipe everyone's memory of him and to make them all forget everything. This will make Peter officially all alone in the entire world. But it's a price he has to be willing to pay. If there's no universe, there's no neighborhood. And there's no Ned, there's no MJ. There's no one. It's one life for the entire universe. The answer is painfully clear and obvious, and Peter says his goodbyes. He promises his friends he'll come and find them and make everything right. He tells them everything will work out and it's all going to be okay. But the most painful part is that he truly believes it at the time. He's not lying to his friends. But when the time to reintroduce himself finally comes, he remembers the infamous quote. He got Ben killed. He got May killed. And he sees MJ's cut. He won't get her or Ned killed. He decides not to tell them and to stay all alone. He feels like with his power, it's his responsibility. And at the time, he thinks he's making Ben and May proud. Now, it's time to talk about Brand New Day. We're going to spoil the movie here, so click off if you don't want to be spoiled, and just come back and finish the video after you see the movie. In this movie, Peter's struggling bad. And the saddest part is, he's in one of the biggest, most beautiful, and greatest cities in the entire world. Yet, he feels his way. This movie shows this perfectly. From Peter riding the train station alone, watching others communicate and have each other's company, They're happy, but he's the polar opposite. He stalks his old friends, and they're happy too. He feels like they're better off without him and happier than he's ever seen them. There's nothing he can do. The city needs him as Spider-Man, and he's good at it. People love him and they praise him, but he doesn't realize it. He doesn't feel it because that's not the version of him that needs to feel loved right now. He's thrown the Peter Parker part of himself completely out the window. He's only worried about being Spidey. But when the unhealthy balance begins slowly taking Peter over completely and just focusing on his spider side, it prevents him from being a good Spider-Man. In his fight with Scorpion, we see this perfectly. Peter not only almost kills him, but a random police officer. He's becoming more spider-like, and where does that leave Peter? This problem has been developing slowly over the past 4 years since No Way Home. But at Ned and MJ's party, it reaches a breaking point where he sees how his friends have actually moved on. He sees MJ kiss her new boyfriend, and this completely breaks him. Another big issue people have for the MCU Spider-Man movies are the MCU character guest appearances. Some people say they're unnecessary and overshadowed, and I disagree with most of that, but I can also see how that opinion could be formed. Take this movie for example. We have Yelena Belova, Punisher, Hulk, and big spoiler, but if you're still here, I don't think you mind, Jean Grey. Each and every one of these can relate to Peter on a very important level. Peter's current life is a complete cycle. It's clear in the opening montage. It's been the same way for the past 4 years. Save the city, stalk his friends, dwell on his old life, get flowers for May, and grieve everything he's lost. The same thing happens in Thunderbolt. We see how Yelena feels this exact same way. She feels alone too, and so do all the other members of her new Avengers team. In this movie, she sees herself in Pete. She's so excited to see Pete has made friends when he finally talks to Ned and MJ again. Next is Punisher. They both feel all alone in this city and just miss their past, the brighter, more hopeful, and more beautiful days. In this movie, Peter tells Frank they're the same, but Frank calls him out immediately. This is a huge lie Peter keeps telling himself. Frank physically cannot speak to his wife and children. They're gone forever, and there's nothing he can do about it. Peter refuses to drag his friends into his life out of fear of them being hurt. Frank can't, Peter won't. There's a big difference. The Hulk similarity is clear. Peter goes to him for help with his DNA mutation. Bruce is clearly a go-to person for this in a universe like this. He's obviously spent years hiding away the Hulk part of him, as he felt like he only brings damage, destruction, and pain. Bruce tells him early on in the movie, but Peter doesn't understand it at the time. Bruce asks, how would you decide what parts of nature are good and bad? The last comparison is Jean Grey. The only thing I was, and maybe still am, a little mixed about and didn't completely love in this entire movie was Jean. She's perfect. Sadie plays her perfectly. I just didn't know how I felt about her in the Spider-Man movie. But after writing the script for this video, I think I'm a lot more open to it and understanding of it. Throughout the film, we see a vital flashback. It's of Aunt May talking to Peter after homecoming when she learns his secret identity. For a long time, I've been asking for us to go back and see some of these characters have a conversation with Peter when they find out his secret identity, since it's such a big moment in his life that we kind of have to skip over with the MCU moving so fast to get to these Avengers movies. In this flashback, she tells Peter that the job can get scary and that some people will come and go, some people will love him for his powers, and some will hate him for them. But the people who truly love him, they love him because of him and not his powers. The powers have nothing to do with the man underneath the mask. With May's death so recently, this is fresh in Peter's mind. Throughout the film, we see Jean unwrap more bits and pieces of this conversation. Just before it's all too late, Peter allows Jean in his head and lets her hear the message for herself. This is not only to save the city, but it saves them, both of them. They realize how similar they are. They're lonely, they're scared, they're under unreal amounts of stress and pain. They're both young and gifted, and they've both been hunted for these gifts. At the end of the day, they both are craving basic human interaction, love, and just a friend. And they can both be that for each other. Peter actually befriends all of these characters throughout the movie. Ned, MJ, Yelena, Frank, Bruce, and Jean. Jean's not the main villain of a Spider-Man movie. His loneliness and the Department of Damage Control are the real villains. And it doesn't come without any setup. They've both been set up long before this in the MCU. especially in the other Spider-Man films. The movie ends perfectly. Jean saves Peter physically, just like he saved her emotionally. The city cheers for him. They show their love and appreciation for him. This never changed throughout the entire movie. They loved him throughout all the 4 years, but Peter can finally sit in the crowd and smile because he himself, Peter Parker, feels loved too. He has made friends. He's working on getting his life back. Like we said earlier, Spider-Man isn't only a negative thing. Peter loves Spider-Man, but in this movie, Peter needs to learn to love himself just as much. The mask allows Peter to be cool and funny. It allows him to be how he truly wants to be in his real day-to-day life. This is why he's so lighthearted and funny and silly and always quipping around no matter what. As soon as I saw this ending scene, it immediately took me back to around a year ago when they were filming outside. Tom Holland was taking pictures with the fans who were all dressed up in their Spider-Man outfits, gear, and merch. Tom Holland said the ending of this film shows the brand new day in the title, and he couldn't have been more right. The movie ends with a lot of questions still left over, but that's okay. Ned and MJ could potentially start to remember, and that's really unique. It gives them the best of both worlds where they could do whatever the fans want. We see Ned and Peter do their handshake, and we see MJ lay on the roof looking at the sky while she holds her necklace that Peter got her. I think the best thing they should do is move on from them temporarily and then bring them back later on. Let him just be friends with them since he needs friends, but he doesn't necessarily need to be best friends or boyfriend and girlfriend with Ned or MJ since we have such a big variety of characters to pull from the comics. I also love the symbolism in No Way Home and Brand New Day. In No Way Home, we see MJ's necklace, Ned's Lego Star Wars minifigure, and the cut on MJ's face representing May. In the final scene of this movie, Peter's about to walk out of the store without talking to Ned. Then he looks at the flowers he buys from the store all throughout the movie. He looks at them, thinks of May, and knows that May would want him to talk to Ned. He introduced himself to Ned, and maybe potentially this will lead to Ned remembering, or at least just sparking back up their friendship. This movie is all about friendship. Spider-Man is a friend of everyone in the neighborhood, and that is exactly what this movie represents. After all, I think that's why he's called the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It means a whole lot to me. I hope you guys can see how much Spider-Man means to me. This is probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made or wrote or anything. I just have so much love and dedication and passion for the character, and I know a lot of us do. I really love the movie. I want you guys to tell me who your favorite Spider-Man is and what you thought of the video, what you thought of the movie, everything. And I just would love to hear your guys' opinion. I think Spider-Man is a character that unites so many people together, and I think that it's much needed, very similar to how Superman was last year in a world that we're in right now. I think being friendly to people and being kind to people and having compassion, I'm so excited for this next Mutant Saga. X-Men 97 touches on it so well about how we don't have enough room and time on the planet to be hateful to each other, and it doesn't matter if somebody's different. And Peter learned this lesson. I'm sure he's going to play a huge role in the Mutant Saga moving forward because he just befriended one of the strongest mutants, one of the most dangerous mutants. But she's loving and caring, and she's a sweet girl who's just scared and alone in the world, like many of them are. I think Peter's going to play a vital role in this next saga, and I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see what they choose to do next in these Spider-Man movies, and I'm just looking forward to it. And like the movie says, we have a brand new day.
I won't make him the handsomest guy in the world or the strongest. I won't make him rich. He'll have money worries. I can relate to that because I had money problems in those days. I said he won't be that popular. I mean, it's not easy for him to get a girl. He has to worry about getting dates. And I figured that most of the kids or the teenagers or the young adults who read those stories would be able to relate to that because no, life isn't easy for anybody, really.